Alright guys, welcome back to another video. Today we're doing 1.4 lesson in Aice International History, and the first kind of things we'll be talking about is going away from 1.3 and what we did last time. It will be the economic growth and the need of trade in the late 19th century. The USA experienced rapid industrial expansion due to natural resources, potential population growth, and advancement in their manufacturing and agriculture. Government policies such as high tariffs on foreign food helped protect their domestic industries, but created lots of challenges for the trade of their internationally. Challenges and trade expansion efforts. Economic downturns in the 1890s highlighted the risks of relying solely on the domestic market, prompting businesses to push for more overseas trade. Farmers and Democrats advocated for lower tariffs because they wanted more foreign trade, while Republicans wanted the opposite of that. There was a high influence on naval power and foreign expansion. Some politicians supported overseas expansion, while others favored maintaining isolation policies and not to trade internationally. Also, next is the influence of sea power upon history. Alfred Thayer Mahan's book in the 1890s argued that naval strength was essential for national greatness and prosperity, so he believed what Japan had was pretty important. It also influenced many American leaders, including Theodore Roosevelt, to support a stronger navy for trade protection. Reasons for and impact of the Spanish-American War in 1898. Cuba's struggle for independence from Spain attracted American sympathy and economic concern due to U.S. investment in sugar, tobacco, and minerals. The explosion of the USS Maine in Havana Harbor escalated tensions with the U.S. newspaper, blaming Spain and calling for war. The U.S. won a swift victory, acquiring Cuba, Puerto Rico, Guam, and also the Philippines in the east side of the world, marking the country's emergence as an imperial power. The Treaty of Paris and the U.S. imperialism. The USA gained control over former Spanish territories, leading to conflicts like the Philippine-American War that lasted 3 years from 1899 to 1902. The annexation of Hawaii in 1898 further extended U.S. influence in the Pacific. The Platt Amendment in 1901 solidified American control over Cuba's foreign and economic policies. U.S. expansion and the Panama Canal. The U.S. backed Panama's independence from Colombia to secure the land needed for the canal. Completed in 1914, the canal strengthened U.S. influence as a global economic power. Then there were Roosevelt's foreign powers and policies and military expansion. It was called the Roosevelt Corollary. It also justified U.S. intervention in Latin America, establishing a sphere of influence. Roosevelt expanded the U.S. Navy, sending the Great White Fleet on an international tour that lasted 2 years from 2007 to 2009 to display American strength. Roosevelt's naval expansion and foreign policy. Roosevelt sent the Great White Fleet on a journey to showcase its U.S. naval strength. His policies contrasted with the country's isolation tradition, aiming to protect commercial interests and prevent European intervention in America. By 1914, the U.S. had become a strong regional power with growing influence in finance. Reasons for U.S. entry into World War I. The war erupted in Europe due to long-standing rivalries, and America initially remained neutral. The U.S. benefited economically, taking over British and German markets and loaning money to warring nations. German submarine warfare, including the sinking of Lusitania 1956 and Sussex 1916, strained the U.S.-German relations. The Zimmermann telegram, which is very important in what we learned this year, in 1917 further provoked the U.S. by revealing Germany's proposal for a Mexican attack on the U.S. On April 6, in 1917, the U.S. declared war, positioning it as a global defender of democracy. Last, Wilson's 14 points and U.S. war effort. President Woodrow Wilson's 14 points in 1918 outlined his vision for peace, advocating free trade, self-determination, and the formation of the League of Nations. The U.S. entry boosted Allied forces, with over 2 million American soldiers joining the fight to help them win. By the time the war ended, the U.S. emerged as a dominant financial and global power, reinforcing its post-war influence. Guys, this is an amazing topic. 2.1 is next. We're drifting away from the first lesson, the first unit, and thank you for listening to my lesson, and we're going to learn 2.1 next. Have a good day.